you're in the right place if the topic of dealing with limiting beliefs is something that has been keeping you from maybe your career reinvention or some other sorts of endeavors. That is what we're going to tackle today, and we are going to do an exercise with it. So I would strongly encourage those of you who are listening, if you can, use paper and pen or paper and pencil during this exercise. We find that there is quite a gain when you do it tactically and tactilely. So please know that that's a very good way to dive into today's exercise and absorb it fast and deep. Shannon D, I think, has mentioned too that it would be great. Any of you want to tell us where you're calling in from? That would be wonderful. We would love that. And as we prepare for this last minute before we actually get started, hi there, Jackie. It would be awesome if not only if you have a paper and pen ready, but go ahead and feel free to go to the chat and tell us what's one belief that you, and if you feel like you can share. If you don't feel like you can share, that's okay. Thank you. We have Whitefish, Montana being represented today by Jackie. So where are you from? And then also tell us, what's the belief that may be holding you back from smooth sailing in career reinvention? We would love to know. What is that belief that might be holding you back? Because that's what we're going to be with today. Okay. So letting us know where you're coming from. Hillary, boy, that's a common one for sure. Too old. And I will tell you that, okay, Christina from Austin. Thank you, Christina. We do have a lot of good friends in Austin, by the way. What are the others? What keeps you from maybe doing the reinvention? What's the belief you're going to tackle with us today? Takes too much time, too much money, too much energy to change. Yeah, Jackie, that's a big one. We might feel like we have golden handcuffs tying us to what we've done in the past, but our heart and soul have already left the building. So that's a big one. Great. Daisy, if you're on, there you are. Welcome, Daisy. So again, you'll want to have paper and pen and something to write with, because we're encouraging you to write manually. You can write digitally if that's your preferred, but yeah. And you'll get more out of it if you do write manually. All right, so it's too late, not enough experience. Those are really good things to tackle. So one of the quotes I like to, or one of the pieces of research I like to lean into that I'm going to put out there, the imposter syndrome. Michelle, that happens so often. Yeah. And if you want to tell us more about what the imposter syndrome is telling you, if it's just like you're not good enough, or who do you think you are, please add that too. But here is the research I like to quote right up front for those of us who are worried about being too old. And I'm a really good example of this, and I'll tell you why in a moment. So the New England Journal of Medicine did some research, and they looked at all the decades of a human being's life, like 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, so on. They found out that 60 to 69 is the most productive decade in a human being's life. The second most productive is 70 to 79, and the third is 50 to 59. So if you're somewhere in that realm, you are ready to peak. And if you think about it, people who are high up in like in churches like cardinals and popes, people who are high up in organizations like Fortune 500, people who get their Nobel Peace Prizes, they're usually in their 60s, 70s, and sometimes 50s. So that's actually the long runway that people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s are headed toward, where you could really peak. And I'm a really good example of that. after surviving shoulder surgery and moving out of triathlons, I was able last year, after about 2 or 3 years of some practice, to move from unrated fencer to fifth in the nation in July during nationals. So I'm even showing that in my, not just my professional life, but my personal life. So these things about imposter syndrome, too late, not believing in yourself, there is so much that we can battle against some of those beliefs. But here we're getting to the real belief that you brought in today. So, number one, this is why you showed up today. Identify the belief that you feel like is limiting you and keeping you from what you want to achieve. So write that down in step number one. Identify the single belief, and if you've already put it in chat, write it again and put it on your page so you have it in front of you. What is the belief that you feel is limiting you from doing what you hope and dream you can achieve? And specifically today, if you're thinking about career reinvention, that's where we're directing this exercise. It doesn't have to be career reinvention, though. You can go through this exercise without it being about career reinvention.
So did you want us to put it in the chat and on the paper?
Okay, everybody has that done? Mostly on the paper, but if you want to put it in the chat, we'd love to hear it. Okay, if you've got it on your paper, let's go to step two. Now in step two, you're going to actually draw a column. You're going to have two sides that you're going to be looking at. So you want a column on the left and a column on the right. The one on the left is for facts, and the one on the right is for fiction. And now you're going to start to list some of the facts about this belief. What is actually true? And you're going to list what is actually fiction that's probably more in your head than not. And the words that you want to avoid this always, everyone, every time, everywhere, because those are going to be nullified right from the very beginning, because most things don't happen always. They don't happen with everyone, everywhere, every time. So avoid putting that down in your fact and fiction. And I'm going to give us some time because we're going to take about 3 minutes for you to start listing out what's an actual fact that can be proven about your belief, and what are you finding is fiction. It's not true. You just believe it or you lean toward it, but it cannot be proven. 3 minutes to start writing what you're going to write. You have about a minute and a half left. Half the time's over. So keep writing. Avoid always, everyone, everywhere, every time. Keep listing facts and fiction about this belief. down to about the last 15 seconds. So start to finalize your list. And stop. Quite the exercise. Hopefully you have a lot of information to look at right now. So we're going to go to step 3. That was step 2. Find at least 3. Some of you may have even more, like 5, 6, or 7. Highlight or circle the exceptions where the belief has been shown by this step 2, by the exercise we just did, to be inaccurate. So you're looking for 3, 5, 7 exceptions where your belief has been called out and shown to be inaccurate. And if it works better than highlighting, go ahead and write down 3, the 5, or the 7 things that you found in that exercise that prove that your belief is inaccurate. And I'm wondering, while you're doing that, if 2 or 3 of you would not mind coming on, just coming off mute, or you can raise your hand if you'd like to, and I'll call on you. Just let us know you would be willing to share one of your exceptions that proves that the belief is not correct. Anyone?
I think one of mine is that I'm not working hard enough, or I'm being lazy.
And how did you, so how did you negate that? Like, what happened? And then Jackie will come to you next.
Oh, I looked at the facts column and looked at the things I'm doing towards the issue I'm working on, and realized, wait a second, it's not that I'm not working hard. It's not that I'm being lazy. It's I think that's a fear that I put there.
Okay, so the little belief or the little fear is a voice, but but you can just look at it and go, there's a lot of evidence against that voice. All right.
Exactly. Yeah,
Good
the facts
example.
column helped me do that.
Good
Yeah.
example. Yeah, because those facts started really lining up. Yeah. And that happens sometimes. You'll see the weight on the fact side, or some of you will do the opposite. You'll see the fiction against so some people do it almost in the inverse, and they see the fiction against the belief adding up. Jackie, tell us what you found out.
So one of the things I wrote down was my location, because I'm in Northwest Montana in the middle of nowhere. And so I think I'm a little skewed because I moved from the Salt Lake City area where there was so much opportunity and activity and networking, and it was easy to meet people. And but when I look around, there's, very successful people that need my help. So I think I can do it.
Okay. Nice. Anybody else? One more. Yes, Mark, would love to hear what you found out. We got to pull you off mute first. There you
My
go.
limiting belief is basically that, and you've heard this from me before and other things, that other chats, that I'm stuck and I can't move forward. And the fact is that I can move forward in all sorts of other areas of my life. I have the ability and the capability, but it's all about finding what I need to do to trust myself and trust my most inner voice. So
Yeah.
if that makes any sense.
Totally makes sense, especially if I reflect back on the conversations you and I have had. Yes, for sure. Thank you, Mark. So now we're going to go together through step 4. And step 4 has several questions. So make sure there's room for all of these questions and you answer each one. The first question in step 4 is, what is this limiting belief stopping you from doing, achieving, or being? What is this limiting belief stopping you from doing, achieving, or believing? Okay, question number 2. What are the consequences for you because of this belief? The next one is, what are the consequences for others, other people? And I'm curious if anybody has an insight from this one. I'm going to share mine. I just recognized that the thing I'm working on manifesting in my life, which involves another individual, I may be stopping them from getting the thing that I want as well. It's not just me. So anybody else want to share an insight you just had from that question, step 4, or from any of those 3 questions? And you're welcome to put it in the chat if you'd like. Go ahead, Jackie.
Yeah, so that one is really profound. The consequences for my situation are enormous. Like, the entire community can suffer if I don't get on this.
Right.
And then more intimately, if I don't do this, the more depressed I become, and the less my fiance is going to want to marry me. But but the bigger one is the entire community really has the opportunity of suffering greatly.
Yeah. Anybody that you touch and you touch with your power would be losing. The other thing I noticed too with mine was I'm keeping myself from resting in the arms of the comfort of knowing this thing is going to happen someday, because I'm keeping it at bay. And you could all rest in the arms of knowing your reinvention can happen. This thing is just a matter of time for most of us. Let's go to step 5. How would you prefer to be, act, or feel? How would you prefer to be, act, or feel?
How would you prefer?
To be, act, or feel. Instead of having this belief rule you, how else would you rather think about it, feel about it, and be about it? My response to this is at peace and trust. Anybody else that wants to share what you've discovered as your answer to number 5?
For me, it's also confidence. I do like that, the trust, because I had an intuitive hit yesterday that I need to trust myself. So that when you said that, I said, absolutely. I know for me, because mine is that besides being too old, that I'm not smart enough is my other one. And then for those of you that don't know me, I went back to school last summer. And so I'm going to fix that right there. But I first was afraid to go back to school, that I, was too old and I wasn't going to be smart enough. So anyhow, taking that step has prove my confidence. Now I feel like I can do anything. And so I'm so much more certain, so much more trusting of myself, and so much more confident from just taking that one little step. It was just one class at first, just to test the waters.
And you got through it so well. And Hillary,
Oh man,
thank you for that story. It's
3.8. I'm so proud of myself. So thank you for letting me give a little brag there.
yeah, we're proud of you. We are so proud of you. Yes.
Thank you.
Mark, yeah, were you waving to say yes, or do you want to? Oh, yeah, Daisy's clapping.
I was saying I was applauding with my hands, but I will say that how I would prefer to be, act, or feel is just when she said confidence. I mean, that was one of my words, just being confident that I have a purpose in my life.
Yeah,
And sometimes, I mean, it's one thing to manifest a vision, but I just developing confidence to have a vision.
right. Yeah, exactly. That's so well said, Mark. And so I'm going to pause here because confidence has come up. So let's talk about how do we negate the lack of confidence. The best way to do that is to gain competence. So in your case, Hillary, you took that class, you tested the waters. Here's a way to do it in reinvention. And Shannon D, will you put this in the link below in the chat? Get my book. Go through the Soul Salt Field Guide if you haven't. It will give you competence of self and what you bring to the table in 8 distinct places, which include values, superpowers, things that are unique that you need, and purpose. Those are just 4 of the 8 exercises. We can battle a belief against our confidence by increasing incrementally small bite-sized chunks of our competence. And that whole book will put you in powerful places because you get in touch with the salt of your soul. And the book is now in the chat. So we're going to move to step 6. This is where you get to create a turnaround statement. You take that belief that you put in number 1 that we've been tearing apart, and you turn it around and give yourself permission. Describe how a new belief can take root that can give you a different future now. Turnaround statements could be, I am competent enough to take one step at a time, one day at a time, leaning in to my trusted coach or mentor, knowing that my path is directed. I can be confident. That's an example. And I will tell you that sometimes, and I'm one of those people who believes this, when I'm taking off something that's really big, I'm going after it and I'm going to charge at it, and it's my target, I always have a coach, a mentor, a support team around me, because even when we're excelling, and I've done this so many times in fencing this last year, even when we're excelling, and you can have video recording it, you might doubt in your mind that you're doing okay, and you sit with your coach and you review it, and they show you all the things that you're doing right, and all of a sudden you go, oh, that one negative voice was giving a lot of power to itself and missing the 5 positive voices. The same happens in reinvention. Every time I get on a call with my reinvention clients, I will tell you that over the years, 95% of the time, they are doing better at their reinvention than they know or believe that they are. And so having those check-in points with somebody who can give you that perspective is imperative. Okay, now we want to hear the turnaround statements, but step 7 is put it in the form of a new belief. If you've got a turnaround statement and you haven't put it in the form of a new belief, do that now. If you did that in step 6, you're ahead of us. And some people do just by the way I read that step. But now it's like, turn it into a new belief. And I'm going to put down, I believe 120% that, and I'm not going to fill in the blank, is happening, and I'm putting it in the present tense, in 2024. I believe that it is happening, meaning that the steps I'm taking daily toward this goal are making it happen one step at a time, even though the goal's not completed. So you can see how I've turned it into a new belief, and the statement validates that it's so. It's not fiction. Now it's your turn. We want you to share it. And about 3 of you, we would love to hear what your shares are. How did you turn it around into a belief statement? Who would love to go first or would be willing to go first? You don't have to love it. Jackie, lead us out. And then
I believe 120% that I have more than enough time and energy to do anything I want. And the money will come when I am able to provide value to those who need my help in 2024.
yeah, applause all around. Yeah. You can feel the power of that. And Jackie, I've seen you do it before. No reason why you're not going to do it again. All right, Mark, you're next. And then we're looking for one more.
I believe 120% that I have a clear vision for a future that I am excited about in 2024.
Beautiful. I can't wait for you to write to me and tell me what that is and when that happens. All right, one other person. I don't know if it's Laura or Daisy or Michelle or Lisa, Shannon Judge. Somebody would like to speak that hasn't spoken very much. One more share. Let's hear one more. Laura, are you going to come on? Yeah.
Sure, I'll go. I think you meant me. I don't know if there's other folks. Sorry, I came in late.
You're fine.
Yeah, I loved that, starting it with, I believe, 120%. So I'll do that as well. I really love that. Yeah, so I believe 120% that I'll grow my business and developing future leaders, and that it's happening.
Beautiful. So this sounds like it's a new endeavor and that you've reinvented into this new endeavor and that now you're embracing the belief in the new endeavor even more. Is that right, Laura?
Right. Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, so glad you were with us today. That's a vital time to get that little boost of energy that can have that 120% belief in yourself and what you're doing. Yeah. That is what we had prepared for you today, was a turnaround. You can use the same exercise. Everybody on this call is going to get this as a recording. And the number of people that are here will get it and be able to review it. Those who haven't listened, go through it carefully with us and go through it as many times as you need. Anytime you have a belief that needs to be busted out of its shell and you need to be free, use these 7 steps. Now, here's a caveat. We'll get to you in just a second, Jackie, because I don't want to lose your thoughts. So write it down. Don't lose it. If you find that your belief is really, really stuck, we have brought on a new team member here at Soul Salt. Her name is Leah James, and you can go out to our website and read about her under our coaches. Leah is a somatic therapist who has one specified, very, it's like a surgeon's scalpel, very astute skill. And that is to dig in. If you have a limiting belief that you can't get past on your own, 1, 2, sometimes up to 6 sessions it will take. For me, it's taking 1 per belief, and those beliefs are busted. Like, you completely integrate the part of you that's hanging on to the belief into a safe place inside of you so that that belief no longer has a voice. It's a miraculous, it's a very astute practice that she has. And both myself and Shannon D have vetted her during 2023. And so much so that we have invited her onto our staff in 2024. So if you go out to the soulsalt.com, the website, and go under coaches, you'll find Leah James, and you'll find a link there where you can get an intake with her. If the belief is not moving, even when you go through these 7 steps, that does happen from time to time. So I wanted to add that bit of a bonus. We know what you're going through in our own right. And so we're trying to accumulate the skills, the tools, the strategies that you need to get to the other side of your reinvention. with a smile on your face.
Hmm.
Okay, Jackie, what was your comment?
I just, on question number 4, were there just 3 points underneath that?
Yeah, so
Oh, okay.
understand and define your belief is limiting you by saying, what does it stop me from doing, achieving, and being? What are the consequences for me? And what are the consequences for others?
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. And we do have this as a 1-pager. So those of you who are on this call, you'll get the 1 page that has the very questions I asked. You'll get the recording. I hope that's useful. Laura, I saw a little note. Did you have a question or a comment that you want to make? I just saw.
Oh, no.
Okay, I saw a little cue come for you. So you may move something on your desk and it highlighted for a second.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So now I'm going to ask you to go to chat as we sign off, and thank you for being here today. Tell us what the value of attending today was. You've taken one more step towards your reinvention. So please put that in chat. Also know that I'm not the only coach here at Soul Salt that does this sort of coaching. Hilary Brandeis has done some of the reinvention coaching for us. And you'll also find Shannon Judge is a very astute coach for reinvention who has recently reinvented herself as well and knows a lot of it. So thank you, Jackie. The fact and the fiction was a really good exercise. Yeah, I'm going back and looking at my highlights going, wow, one side has a lot. Daisy, thank you. Good. I'm glad you got that awareness. Awareness comes first. Hillary, getting to the root. Yeah, we got to pull it out by the roots. Mark, refocused. Good. Yes. I'm glad you're getting refocused. I'm glad you joined us today, Mark. It's a great way to start the year. Lisa, turnaround statement's profound. And anytime, if you ever want to share what your turnaround statement is with me, you know where to find me, Lisa. I'd love to hear about it. Yeah, because I know you come on these calls regularly, and we're so glad that you do. All right, without further ado, if there are questions that you have, please email them to info@soulsalt.com. And if there's something that you'd like to hear more about in the reinvention vein, please let us know. Michelle, thank you for that. It has been impacting your beliefs a lot in your progress. Yeah. All right. Here's to 2024, a year of reinvention for everybody on this call. Best wishes, and know that we're here to serve you. See you next month if you'd like to join again. Thank you, everybody.